Hello, intern. So this is the first part of our pre-examination ratio. Okay, so I hope that you will be able to learn a lot from this discussion. Okay, so if you are to look back on the exam that I gave, so the different questions were not actually arranged per topic, so they were jumbled. This is because I want you to be trained as early as now that yes, that you should be able to answer questions from one topic to another because ganun talaga sa board exam. Sa board exam hindi naman nila ina-arrange yan per topic. Although we follow the table of specifications provided by our professional regulatory board, still hindi nila ina-arrange yan. Okay? So dapat ngayon pa lang, yes, matrain nyo na yung sarili ninyo na mag-isip from one topic to another. Okay? So with that, let's start with the first question. So the first question is actually under laboratory safety. Okay? So actually, even before naman, laboratory safety is considered to be a high-yield topic. And when you are going to review laboratory safety, so it will not just be applicable in clinical chemistry, but it will also be applicable in other subjects. So kumbaga, you are not just preparing for one subject, but if you are going to review, diba? If you're going to review your laboratory safety, so it's a preparation for all of the different subjects that you will be taking in your boards. Okay, so let's start with number 1. Empty Lysol and Baygon containers should be discarded in what colored waste bin? So take note that your empty Lysol and Baygon containers, so these are considered to be pressurized. Diba? Pressurized containers. And according to the Healthcare Waste Management Manual crafted by the Department of Health, so very applicable siya dito sa Philippines, your pressurized containers should be disposed of in red bins, okay, or red containers or red bags. Therefore, the answer for number 1 is red. Okay, so yan ang correct answer. So if we are going to go back to the manual that I mentioned a while back, so ang naging basis nila in crafting this particular manual is actually, or are rather, actually, number 1, your Clean Air Act of 1999, and then the other one is your Ecological Solid Waste Management of 2000. So these laws, okay, these Philippine laws, they led to reforms in the management of your healthcare waste. Thus, the Department of Health was able to craft your healthcare waste management manual. Okay, ayan. So if you are going to go through this manual, you would be able to see there a color-coded scheme, okay, for the disposal of healthcare wastes. So ito yung dinidiscuss sa atin when we were in probably second year or third year students. Okay, so yan. So please do not forget this particular color-coded scheme. So again, for your red, okay, so balikan lang natin muna itong mga choices dito. Red, so ginagamit po ito for our sharps, as well as your pressurized containers. Okay, so dalawa sila. So sharps plus your pressurized containers. So let me just put it here na lang sa gilid kasi, yeah, obviously hindi siya kasya. Okay, so red po, sharps, and pressurized containers. Okay, ayan. So of course, doon sa ating manual, wala siyang naibigay ng mga examples. Okay, so dapat alam natin kung ano ba ang sharps. Okay, so what are examples of sharps in the laboratory? So we have broken glass, diba? Broken slides, or kahit na slide lang yan na unbroken, it's still considered as a sharp. What else? Yung mga needles natin. Okay, so these are specific examples of sharps. Yes, because in the board exam, pwedeng hindi nila sasabihin na sharp. Di ba? Magbibigay sila ng example. Like slides. Okay? Ano pa? Broken test tubes. Mga ganyan. Broken whatever na glassware. Okay? So, considered pa rin yun na sharps. Di ba? Ayan. So, dapat gusto kasi ng mga examiners natin talaga is nag-iisip tayo sa board exam. So, what you read in your references may not be the exact ones which will be given during your board exam. Okay, yan. So, very good example ito nung binigay nila ang question na to. Ang hindi naman nila nilagay doon na pressurized containers. Ang nilagay nila ay empty Lysol containers. Okay, empty Lysol and Baygon containers ang nilagay nila. So, again, yes, it's not enough for us to just memorize the scheme as well as the wastes. We have to also cite some specific examples of these wastes in the laboratory. Okay? All right, so let's go to the other colors. So next, we have our black. Okay? So pag sinabi nating black, ano ang nilalagay natin dito? So we have, wait lang. Okay, so black. Ang nilalagay po natin dito are our non-infectious dry wastes. Okay? In some other references, your non-infectious dry wastes are referred to as non-biodegradable wastes. Okay, ayan. So yung term na non-biodegradable wastes at saka biodegradable wastes, recall question din ito as early, if I'm not mistaken, as early as 2018. Okay, nung time na yon or even earlier, naha-highlight talaga yung terms na non-biodegradable at saka biodegradable wastes. Alright, so aside from your black, we also have green containers or green bags. Okay, so in our green bags, we dispose, ano ang dinidispose natin? We have our non-infectious wet wastes. Okay, so non-infectious wet wastes, they are otherwise referred to as our biodegradable. Okay, so we have our biodegradable wastes. Okay, so aside from your green, ayan, meron din po tayong yellow. So saan or anong type of waste ang nilalagay sa ating yellow containers? So we have here our infectious and biological wastes. Okay, so we have our infectious and biological wastes. May I just share also that according to the latest memorandum on the handling of healthcare wastes, particularly our infectious wastes. So take note that according to DOH, so infectious wastes should not be stored beyond. Okay, so we have 48 hours. This is during the cool season. And then 24 hours during the hot season. Ayan. Okay? So this is actually itong requirement for the storage of our infectious wastes. This came from a new department order. Yes, a new department order issued by, of course, the Department of Health. All right, so yan. So aside from our yellow container, yes, we also have, of course, yellow with black band. Ayan, yellow with black band. So ano ang nilalagay natin sa yellow with black band? So we have our chemical wastes in the laboratory. Okay? Yan. So of course, wala na namang space. So dito na lang ako sa kabila. Okay, so aside from your yellow, we also have here orange. Okay, so pag orange naman, so we, dispose our radioactive wastes in our orange containers or orange bags. Okay, so yan po ang ating color-coded scheme or color coding scheme when it comes to the use of the different containers or trash bags in the laboratory or in any healthcare facility for that matter. So may I also mention, since pinag-uusapan na natin ang radioactive wastes, okay? So take note that the regulatory body, kasi this is a classic question when it comes to safety, okay? And it might not be asked in clinical chemistry, but it might be asked in different or in other subjects in the boards, particularly for your histopath and medtech laws with bioethics. Okay, so sino or ano ang regulatory body when it comes to your radioactive waste? So take note, we have Philippine Nuclear Research Institute. Okay, so sila po ang regulatory body. Alright, so yan. So those are the things that you have to remember when it comes to the proper disposal of our wastes. Particularly, yes, ano ang applicable sa atin? So proper disposal or proper waste management in healthcare facilities. Okay? So before we move on, yes, diba, ang daming side notes. Number 1 pa lang tayo, guys. Okay. So, yes, di bale, okay lang yan. Kasi magagamit nyo yan later on. Okay, so aside from your color coding scheme, of course, di ba, you also have to know by heart your NFPA symbol. So remember that your NFPA symbol, this is actually a high yield topic in, medtech. Okay, yes. Kasi kahit saang subject yan, kahit saang board subject, pwede nyong ma-encounter ang NFPA symbol. Okay, so that's why I advise that as early as now, you should be able to know your NFPA symbol by heart. Okay, so take note that when we talk about your NFPA symbol, this is actually composed of 4 quadrants. Diba? Ayan, wait lang guys. Okay. So, 4 quadrants po ito. Yes. Wait. Wait lang. Okay, so it is composed of 4 quadrants. Yan, 1 big quadrant and then okay. Diba? Siyempre, magdodrawing ako. Yan. So we have 4 quadrants. And of course, yes, this might be given, number 1, probably as a picture. So pwedeng picture po yan na ibibigay. Or, kaso yung picture na binibigay nila sa board exam, black and white, di ba? So it's still best for you to be able to really know kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng mga quadrants na yan. Okay, yes. Whether kung ang ibigay sa inyo ay picture or the description of the location of that particular quadrant. Okay, so let's start off with the top quadrant. Alright, so what is the color of the top quadrant? So take note that the top quadrant has a red color. Okay, so meron tayo dito our top red quadrant. Okay, so take note that our top red quadrant, so this indicates your fire or flammability. Okay, so fire or flammability hazard of your reagent or of your chemical in the laboratory. So by the way, ang NFPA symbol, ginagawa po to or ginagamit ito sa laboratory as labeling. Pang-label ito ng mga chemicals, ng mga reagents na ginagamit natin sa laboratory in order to indicate fire or flammability hazard. That's 1. Okay, so next we move on to the next quadrant. So we have here our right quadrant. So anong meron sa right quadrant natin? Okay, your right, sorry. No, it's not red. Wait. So we have here our right yellow quadrant. Okay, so we have here our right yellow quadrant. So take note that your right yellow quadrant, so this indicates right yellow. Okay, your right yellow quadrant indicates reactivity. Okay, reactivity or stability of your chemical. Okay, so reactivity or stability of your chemical. Okay? Ayan. And then, the next one, we move on to the bottom quadrant. So, ang bottom quadrant natin has a white color. Okay? So, our bottom quadrant is or indicates specific or special hazard. So, bottom, wait, wag blue. Green na lang. Or white. Okay, so bottom, ay hindi siya nakikita yata. Green na lang. Yes. Bottom white quadrant. Okay, so again, what type of hazard is indicated here? So we have your specific or special hazard. Okay, so when we say specific or special hazard, examples are, is your chemical corrosive? Is it radioactive? Is it an acid? Is it an alkali? Okay, is it corrosive? Okay, so those are examples of specific or special hazards which may be indicated in the bottom white quadrant of your NFPA symbol. Okay, and then finally, the last quadrant in our NFPA symbol. So we have here our left blue quadrant. Okay, so we have here our left blue quadrant. Okay, so yan. So take note that our left blue quadrant, so this one indicates left blue quadrant. So this indicates health hazard. Okay, so it indicates health hazard. Ayan. So aside from your the location of the different quadrants as well as the type of hazard that they indicate, you should also know how to interpret, okay, the numbers which may be found inside your blue, your red, and your yellow quadrants. Okay, so in general, we can interpret the level or the degree of hazard according to the following numerical symbols. So we have 4, 3, 2, 1, and then of course 0. Okay, so when we say 0, it means no or minimal hazard. When we say 1, it means slight hazard. Okay, and then when we say 2, it means moderate hazard. 3 means serious hazard. And then number 4 means extreme hazard. Okay, lumabas na din po ito sa board exam. Yes, especially yung number 2, moderate hazard. Number 3, serious hazard. Okay, so that means talagang ginagamit nila itong topic na to, tinatanong talaga nila yan sa board exam. Okay? Another, yes, itong interpretation na to, lumabas na din po ito sa board exam. So that's why I am also presenting it to you. So when it comes to our health hazard, okay, so pagdating po sa ating health hazard, there is another interpretation when it comes to the degree of hazard, or the severity of the hazard that we are handling in the laboratory. Although it still makes use of the same numerical values or ratings. So we have 4, 3, 2, 1, and then of course, we have 0. Okay, so same pa rin naman. However, please take note na magkaiba po ang interpretation. So, 1, yes, 1 tuloy. We start off with number 4. So, number 4, pag number 4 ang nakalagay dyan sa left blue quadrant natin, it means it is deadly. Okay? And then 3 indicates extreme danger. Number 2 indicates that the material is hazardous. Number 1 indicates that the material is slightly hazardous. Okay, and then 0 indicates that the material is normal. Okay, so normal material. All right, ayan. So these are the two possible interpretations as to the degree of hazard that we are handling in the laboratory as indicated in your NFPA symbol. Okay, so the question is, how would you know that you are going to make use of this one, this interpretation, or this other interpretation for your health hazard? So take note, yes, na sa board exam, hindi sila magbibigay ng nakakalitong choices. Or hindi naman siguro hindi sa nakakalitong choices, pero you have to look at the choices which are given for that particular item. Okay? So say for example, napansin mo naman na ang ginamit na terms ay, itong mga terms na to. Saan na yun? Okay? So say for example, napansin mo naman na ang ginamit na terms ay itong mga to. Okay? So ibig sabihin, ito yung gagamitin mo. Yes, kasi take note ha, na for the other interpretation of your health hazard numerical rating, number 3. Wait, i-highlight lang natin. Okay, so ang number 3 natin, parehas ang ginamit nilang term. Extreme danger. Okay? And then, number 4 naman siya, doon sa una kong binigay na interpretation, we have extreme hazard. Okay, so but although parehas naman silang extreme, take note of their differences. For the other interpretation, ang ginamit niyang term ay danger. Doon naman sa kabila ay hazard. Okay, so please, yes, especially for this particular, interpretation of your numerical rating. Extreme danger is different from extreme hazard. Okay? So, ganon. Alright, ayan. Siyempre, hindi pa tayo tapos, guys, sa ating safety. Because, yes, another recall question that, that they asked previously. So, we have hierarchy of controls. Yes, how do we manage the presence of hazards in the laboratory? And ang ginagamit po nilang reference dito when it comes to your hierarchy of controls is the one provided by CDC. It was in 2021 na tinanong ang hierarchy of controls. Okay, both March and August exam. Tinanong po yan. Okay, so baka sa inyo, pag time na ninyo, itatanong din yan. So, dapat alam din natin siya. Okay? So, take note that when it comes to the hierarchy of controls in the laboratory, okay? So, ilagay ko lang dito. Ang reference po natin dito ay CDC. Alright? So, the most effective control is elimination. Okay, the second most effective is substitution. And then we have engineering controls as the third one. And then the fourth one, we have our administrative controls, okay? And the least effective of all the controls that we have in the laboratory would be your PPE. Okay, so yan. So take note, the most effective is elimination. The least effective would be the use of your PPE or your personal protective equipment. Okay, so don't forget. Ayan. So those are some of the important things that you have to remember when it comes to safety. So please do please do read also on our acronyms, like for example, your race, okay, and of course, the proper usage of our extinguishers. We have pass. Okay, so yung race, tinanong na din yan, ano ang ibig sabihin ng letter E sa race natin. Okay, so I do hope that you can still remember. So take note that E stands for extinguish or exit. Okay, but between extinguish and exit, which one is a better answer? A better answer is exit. Okay? Why? Because, take note, ano ang ibig sabihin ng letter C? Letter C means contain the fire, which is basically the same as extinguish the fire. To contain the fire is to extinguish the fire. Okay, ayan. So that's why between the two, a better answer is exit. You know, there are instances in the board exam in which lahat ng choices na binigay nila ay tama. Okay, so that's why you have to know the best answer. Okay, which one is a better answer? If there are two possible answers, which one is a better answer? Okay, ayan. So please do not forget yung ating race, and of course, the other one, we have our pass for the proper use of our extinguishers. Okay? Ayan. Yes, nakailang minutes tayo, guys. Okay, ako pala. Ayan. So anyway, okay lang yan. Alright, so now let us move on to the next item. We have here number 2. Okay? So number 2 natin. Alright. So this is a question on laboratory mathematics, particularly preparation of our reagents or preparation of our solutions in the laboratory. Okay? Ayan. So this topic is specifically under dilution. Okay, yan. So, dilution, it's a basic problem that is oftentimes given in board exams. Yes, actually not just yung local board exams natin, but you might also encounter dilution problems when you when you take your ASCP exam later on. So, minsan nagbibigay din sila ng mga ganyan. Okay? So, anyway, for this item, of course, dapat alam natin mag-compute ng dilution. Okay? Ayan. So let me just read the item. So the LD or the lactate dehydrogenase level of a patient is extremely elevated. So in instances na ganito, pag masyadong elevated ang concentration ng isang analyte, what we do is we dilute the sample of the patient. Bakit natin kailangang i-dilute? Kasi meron pong tinatawag na maximum limit yung detection, maximum limit of detection of our procedure of the test that we perform in the laboratory. So if the concentration of the analyte exceeds the maximum limit, then hindi na natin makukuha or madedetermine yung accurate na concentration ng ating analyte. Okay, thus the need to perform dilution. Okay, so take note, yes, in this case, the medical technologist first diluted the patient's 0.1 ml serum sample with 1.9 ml of diluent. Then, another dilution is done by adding 2 ml of the patient's sample from the initial dilution with 3 ml of diluent. After the testing, the LD concentration obtained is dapat 120 units per liter. What is the patient's final lactate dehydrogenase concentration? Alright, so since dilution ito, ang dilution problems, you will not just encounter this in clinical chemistry. You might also encounter it in, say, for example, hematology, when you do cell counting, manual cell counting procedures in hemocytometry, di ba? Or serial dilution in serology. Okay, so yan. So again, it's not really exclusive to clinical chemistry. So when you study this particular type of questions, you will also use it in other subjects. Okay? Ayan. So we start off with the ano pangalan nito? The formula for dilution. Okay? So take note that dilution is equal to, okay, the volume of the solute. Okay? Litan ko. Volume of the solute. Okay? Divided by, yan. Okay, so volume of the solute, wait lang ah. Okay, so volume of the solute all over volume of the solution. Okay, ayan. So volume of the solute all over volume of the solution. So actually, maraming nalilito dito sa volume of the solution. Bakit? Kasi ang pagkaka-interpret nila is pag sinabi mong volume of the solution, ang i-consider lang ay volume ng solvent. Remember, pag sinabi mo bang solution, 'di ba? Pag sinabi mong solution, dear interns, ang solution, it is composed of your solute plus your solvent. Okay? Therefore, pag sinabi mong volume of the solution, there is a need for you to add, diba? Add the volume of your solute. So this is actually equal to the volume, okay, of your solute plus the volume of your solvent. Okay? So yan ang formula. Yes, yan ang formula ng volume of the solution. Hindi lang solvent ang titignan natin. Ang titignan din natin ay yung volume ng ating solute at saka yung volume ng ating solvent. Okay, so please do not forget. Okay, so with this in mind, yes, what would be the first dilution natin? Kasi dalawang dilution na makikita mo dyan eh, di ba? So the medical technologist diluted the sample twice. Okay? So dilution 1. Dilution 1 muna tayo. Okay. So take note that dilution 1, ano ang solute natin dyan? So our sample would always be the solute. Okay? So what is the volume of our solute? The volume of our solute is 1.9 ml. Tama. Ayan. So 1.9 ml po siya. And then, what would be the volume of our solution? So when I'm sorry, hindi pala 1.9 ml. 0.1 ml po siya. Okay? Yan. So first diluted the patient 0.1 ml serum sample. So 0.1 ml serum sample, that's our solute, all over the volume of our solution. So again, pag volume of our solution, volume ng ating solute, which is 0.1 ml, plus the volume of our solvent. What is our solvent? Our solvent is the diluent, okay, which is 1.9 ml. Ayan, so 1.9 ml. All right? So if we are going to calculate dilution 1, okay, dilution 1 therefore is equal to 0.1 ml, 0.1, wait lang guys. Okay, 0.1 ml all over 0.1 plus 1.9, so we have 2 ml. Okay, so the first dilution 1, will now be equal to, so ano ang 0.1 all over 2? Yes, 0.1 all over 2. So this is equivalent to 1 over 20. Okay? So ang dilution 1 natin ay 1 over 20. Okay, nakuha? Ayan. And then, take note na after diluting it 1:20, the medical technologists diluted the sample again. So meron tayong dilution 2. Okay, so dilution 2 is equal to 2 ml, diba, of the patient's sample. And then, from the initial dilution, sabi niya dyan, with 3 ml of your diluent. So again, this is solute plus solvent. So we have 2 ml plus 3 ml na diluent. Okay, so 2 ml plus 3 ml na diluent. Okay? Ayan. So again, ganun lang ulit ang gagawin natin. Dilution 2 is now equal to 2 ml all over 2 ml all over 5 ml. Okay, yes. So ang second na dilution natin ay 5 ml. Okay. So ang second na dilution natin ay 2 all over 5. Okay, so 2 all over 5. So now, since dalawang dilution yan, we are just going to get the final dilution. So take note that if there are 2 dilutions, ano ang gagawin natin? We are going to multiply, okay, to get the final dilution. So in that case, di ba? Number 2 pa lang tayo, guys. Okay? Ang ating final dilution now is equal to 1, okay, 1:20 times, okay, times 2:5. 2 all over 5. Okay? So if we are going to multiply this one, ang final dilution po natin, okay, so our final dilution will now be equal to 1 all over 50. Yan. So yan na ang magiging final na dilution po natin. Okay, so 1 all over 50. Alright, so tapos na ba ang ating problem? Hindi pa. Kasi ang tinatanong dyan is, after the testing, the LD concentration obtained is 120 units per liter. What is the patient's final LD concentration? So in this case, what do you need? You need the factor. Okay? The dilution factor ang kailangan mo dyan. Take note, guys, na pag sinabi nating, what is the dilution? Oh, what is the dilution? Ano dapat ang sagot mo? It's either naka-fraction siya, the dilution is 1 over 50 or 1:50. That's the dilution. However, pag sinabi nating dilution factor, ano ang dilution factor? We are just going to get the denominator of your dilution. So therefore, the dilution factor for our problem is 50. Okay, so 50 ang dilution factor po natin. Yes, and you are going to get the concentration of your LD. Okay, so to get the final concentration of your LD, concentration is equal to, okay, is equal to the concentration, wait lang, lagyan natin ng final. Okay, so final LD concentration is equal to dilution factor times, okay, the LD concentration, the concentration that is, wait lang, the LD concentration that is obtained from your testing. Okay, therefore, final LD concentration is equal to 50 times, okay, 50 times 120 units per liter, which is equivalent to, so 50 times 120, we have 6,000 units per liter. Okay, so we have 6,000 units per liter. Okay, so yan siya. Alright, so grabe, hindi pala enough yung space na nilagay ko per problem or per item. Okay, ang dami-dami palang kailangang explain. Alright, so yan. So I hope clear kung paano magkuha ng final dilution. Okay, on how to compute for your dilution, on how to determine the dilution factor. Alright, so that when you are given this type of question, at least alam nyo na kung paano. Okay, so I always give, hindi nawawala ang dilution sa mga pa-exams ko. Okay, so it's good if you will be able to master your dilution as early as now. Okay?